So welcome to the giveaway. Apologies for the prior two mishaps. Try as I might, I couldn't get StreamYard and good old YouTube to actually talk to each other properly, despite the fact that I could get the FX and Chill link working. So YouTube is very particular about how these things are set up. If you don't get them absolutely right, it doesn't work at all. So I have to basically just run it all from StreamYard now. So that is what we will do in future when we get these things going. So I am in the modeling cave at the moment. I'm just going through the process of really the list of participants. And I'm just currently cutting those out as I've just had my dinner, so I didn't quite get to do this beforehand. And I thought it would be useful anyway, so you can see that I'm not rigging it and putting all the same name in the bowl all at once. So this is obviously for the JMB Bricklayer Tiger that I featured a month or so ago. So JM Bricklayer sent me a couple of kits. The Tiger was the first of those. I also have a nuclear submarine, which is absolutely huge, which will be coming along in probably a month. So it was due to go live a couple of weeks ago, and they contacted me after the Titan submersible disaster and said, maybe a sub video right now isn't so good. So we've postponed that a little bit for sensitivity's sake, even though it's a completely different kind of thing. Obviously, it's a big nuclear submarine. That's quite an interesting kit. I mean, it's the JMB Tiger was actually pretty fun to build. It's quite nice, and it's remote controlled. It would make a great gift for a kid. I would say a teenager would be okay building it. It's a little bit too complicated, I think, for a child to build by themselves. But again, great project for you to do with the child. If you've got a child of your own, or you're an uncle or something, it'd be a great activity. Once it's built, of course, then any child of any age, from 5 to 60, could probably enjoy it. So that's what this giveaway is for. I'm actually going to put the webcam here down so you can see my workbench. So this is the pot of mystery that we will be putting the... So basically all I've done, just move the ethanol out of the way, but we don't want that in there. So these are just strips with all of my Patreon and channel member names on, plus those subscribers who put their names in. So obviously you'll see several people appear many times on this. So Ian Kerridge, I think, has 10 tickets in this one because he is a box art member. So obviously those of you who are box arts get lots. Kit parts get I think 6 entries. Sprues get 3, and good old subscribers just get 1. So if you want more chances of winning these things in future, you just need to become a channel member or a Patreon to do that. So one of the things that I'm looking at as well is actually taking a lot of the member benefits into my own hands, rather than leaving them with, well, not with YouTube, because YouTube doesn't offer any, but from Patreon, because they're not very good. I would say, and I think the fact that they take a big chunk of your Patreon subscriptions and don't really give much back, in theory it sounds like a great idea because they manage all of the posting of merch and stuff like that, but there is a 3-month delay on those, and also I've not had great experiences. So far I still don't have the Patreon t-shirt that I was supposed to have a sample of back in January, I think it was. So I've had to chase them, and I still haven't received it. So you'll have seen I've shown the mug, shown stickers. I've actually gone to a separate printing service to have some stickers made, a couple of different types of stickers. I'm also going to get some patches made. So those of you who know Moss, Moss651 Models, if you've not seen his channel, go and have a look at it. He's a big Airfix fanboy. So if you're not a fan of Airfix, you may not like his content. But he's a good guy. He does a lot of patches, both for his channel. He's doing a basically just a lightning challenge and he's done a lightning challenge in the past. He's also doing a Concord challenge, which is what I'm building this Concord for. So yes, at the moment it is primed grey because this is the Airfix kit and it does need priming to show all of the problems with it. It's got a couple of sink marks on each side of the wing. Probably just see, you may not be able to see the difference here where I've filled it. And I have actually filled all of these windows with resin because it doesn't have any windows in the kit. So the reason I've not primed this bit is because I actually need to mask all of those windows, which, as you can imagine, is going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. Emmanuel, the way I do the draw is very old school. I have these little bits of paper with people's names printed on them, which I put into the bowl of mystery, one of my girlfriend's salad bowls, and then I draw them out. So I will fold these up, but it's very, very simple. This does not require any electronics to go wrong, or StreamYard or YouTube not to connect. It just requires me, a pair of scissors, and some paper. And if the worst came to the worst, rather than printing them out, I could even write them. Go really old school. Okay, so that's all of them cut out. I shall fold them up, and then we'll get on with the draw. So as you can see on my bench, apart from the Concord there's also this. So this is a metal spider, or at least part of a metal spider. This will also constitute a giveaway in the future. So I have a couple of kits. I have that metal spider. In fact, actually, I might keep the metal spider because it actually has a wireless speaker on it, which would be quite good for listening to stuff in here. But I also have this. And, well, if you can't read Chinese, that's probably no use to you at all. So this is a metal scorpion, the same sort of ilk. So these are metal kits. So you get pre-cut pieces of metal, bolts, washers, screws. So you construct them together just using, as you saw, that little screwdriver. It just come with a little spanner or wrench, I guess, if you're American. You just put those together. So a lot of these are standard components. So these are just like little grommets here. I think the gear is purpose cut, but all these other pieces are standard kind of electronics or electric connectors. And they form these quite interesting little metal sculptures. So they approached me to do a couple of videos on those. So I'll do a couple of videos and then I'll be giving away that metal scorpion. That's going to be one of the future giveaways. And of course, the next giveaway after tonight's JMB Tiger will be this, the Airfix collector's coin. Although, I don't know if you can call it a coin because it's absolutely massive. It weighs a lot. There's this solid metal and it's about, what, 4 or 5 millimeters thick. It's quite attractive. So this is the Hawker Hunter Memorial XF442, piloted by Flight Lieutenant Pollock. through Tower Bridge as a bit of a protest because of the lack of celebration of the RAF's anniversary and some of the funding that was going on towards the end of the 60s. It was a very politically charged atmosphere. And of course, he was invalided out of the RAF in order that he didn't stand court-martial, because if he had stood court-martial, he would have been able to be, basically given him a platform for him to be able to air that publicly. And because it would have gone before Parliament and stuff, they didn't want that to happen, so they just invalided him out. So, which in a way was good for him, because it meant he didn't lose all of his benefits from a dishonourable discharge, but it also meant that it kind of kept it all under wraps. As much as you can keep flying a fighter bomber through Tower Bridge under wraps. Of course, it was in all the tabloids and papers at the time. So, the other thing I have on my bench here is this MiG-29. So this is an ICM kit. ICM, which you've seen from my best Beaufort video, if you've seen that one. If not, check it out. They sent me the 1/48 scale Beaufort that's just come out, which is their 2022 tooling, but with decals for the Royal Air Force British Dominions forces, principally South Africa, I think it's New Zealand, and I forget what the others, Canadian, I think are the other ones. So they also sent me, well actually they sent me this prior to the Beaufort, but because of my schedule and things, I actually got the Beaufort before I started, well, just after I'd started this. This is actually the Ghost of Kiev. So it's just, I've just finished doing some of the main sanding it needed, filler on these air intake junctions. So it needed a little bit more touching up. And I'll put the rear stabilizers on because it needed quite a bit of filling in these places, either side. And then that will get painted up. So I'm really interested to see the digital camo on that. I'm not using an airbrush. So if you're intrigued by how I'm going to be doing digital camouflage without an airbrush, you'll have to see that video. Should be out, I think, in about a week or so. Shouldn't take too long now to finish it up, especially since I'm doing it with a hairy stick. Just whilst I fold these pieces of paper, which isn't terribly interesting to watch, any questions out there in the comments section? Otherwise, I'll just keep talking about random stuff. Yes, good look indeed. So it shouldn't be too far off getting all of these in. So I've got a couple of other things that are coming up. Well, I've got a fair few videos stacked actually waiting for the last finishing touches on the video side. I have not yet obtained the Airfix ferret. One of the reasons being is that because I'm setting up the model shop, I can get kits at trade prices. So one of them will find its way from stock into my stash, and then I shall be taking it from there. Oh, our first video, yes. So I found that I actually had a separate account on YouTube many years ago with my X's and I's joint email address. And it only had one video on, which was the painting of the Dindrenzi drop pod from Planetfall. So I do still paint miniatures. That is still part of what I do. In fact, one of the videos that I'm actually waiting for another set from ICM for is going to be on painting miniatures for scale hobbyists, because I think one of the things that often people want to do, especially with armor, is paint figures, put figures there to give a bit of life into your dioramas. But I would say, I may be overstepping the mark here, but I think probably the majority of scale modelers don't really know about painting people, and paint people like they paint models, and then are disappointed that they don't look very realistic or detract from the overall kind of look of the diorama. So I'm going to be doing a video on not how to paint miniatures, because you could make hundreds of videos on that, and there are many far more talented people out on YouTube than me talking about that already. And most people, most scale modelers at least, don't want to spend that sort of time painting a figure. But basically, how you can shortcut some of those tricks, the tips that the very talented model or miniature painting community use on their minis to get more realistic looking figures without spending twice as long on painting your miniatures as you do on making your models. So I've got a couple of figures, one that came from, a couple that came from the Tamiya Stug 3 kit, no, Stug 4, sorry. And I've got a set of figures that are coming from ICM, and they're also sending me some paints. Because ICM, if you didn't know, also do paints. I've been trying those out. They're quite interesting. To actually have a look at that. And there are some things that we don't use very much in the scale modeling hobby that you can use for painting minis, which actually also come over into scale modeling as well. But they're just not very well used by us. So I think the two communities, although they're quite separate, can learn quite a bit from each other. I think I've mentioned that a couple of times on other videos. Okay, well, I think we have come more or less to the moment of truth. So what I propose is that rather than picking this out with my hands, which could be said to be subject to human preference, I'm going to use these. These are actually locking tweezers from a surgical set. So we shall rummage around in here, open, let it, oh, if I can do it without dropping it, and then see if we can get it to close on. Oh, I think I've got two there. Let's do a bit of a fairground wiggle. There we go, we have a winner. I'm slightly nervous myself, actually. And the winner is Jeff Titterton. I hope I've actually spelled that correctly, because I wrote it down by pen from the screen last night when I was trying to get all the stuff working, and then transpose it to the computer. So if I've spelt your name incorrectly in the interim, I apologize. But Jeff, I think, only just joined the channel a few days ago, so well done. Congratulations. And that JMB Tiger, I'll get in touch to get your details, to get that kit sent out. To the rest of you, commiserations, but this will not be, of course, the last of my giveaways. I want to try and accelerate the sort of pace of them a little bit. I know it's taken a while for the JMB Tiger one to get out, because I've had a lot going on, especially now with the shop. And there will be another video on the shop progress coming out probably tomorrow. I think you'll see it's changed quite a lot since the last video. Okay, so that's everything from me. Just wanted a quick final catch up to get this this out. I'm planning on doing some more regular proper streaming, where I'm actually going to be doing a bit of modeling live. We'll be doing some bits and bobs on the go, and just general chat. So that will probably take a little while to schedule. But of course, the next giveaway will be in about a month's time, just to remind you, for the lovely Airfix Collector's Coin. So I kind of love to hold on to it in one respect myself, but then in the other respect, I think somebody else would enjoy it probably more than I would. It would probably end up collecting dust for me. So I think I would rather give it away and it find a good home with somebody who has actually supported me over the last 6 months or so. So I think for me, it's a nice way, personally, of giving back to you guys who have, reached into your pockets and supported me during this journey. So that's the Airfix Collector's Coin for next time. Until then, I wish you fantastic modelling moments of your own. I hope you join me in future videos, see the progress on the shop, and some of the things that I've shown you tonight, which are going to be coming up fairly soon. Okay, guys, thanks very much for joining me. Have a great night, and see you on the next one. Bye now.